Raiders wide receiver Antonio Brown was not present at practice on Sunday. General manager Mike Mayock spoke to the media about his absence.
AB is not here today, right? So here's the bottom line. He's upset about the helmet issue. We have supported that. We appreciate that, okay? But at this point, we've pretty much exhausted all avenues of relief. So from our perspective, it's time for him to be all in or all out, okay? So we're hoping he's back soon. We got 89 guys busting their tails. We are really excited about where this franchise is going, and we hope AB is going to be a big part of it starting week 1 against Denver. End of story. No questions.
A turning point, a breaking point, a stern message from Mike Mayock to Antonio Brown. The Raiders' Twitter actually even shared this message. So what did you make of it?
You think Mayock's thinking about he could be in South Bend right now doing Notre Dame games? Watching Tua tape to work on his big board? No, listen, I love that Mayock moment. You ever been so frustrated and pissed off in your life, but you still have to show diplomacy and poise? I give you the quote, "We've exhausted all avenues of relief." That is Sorkin. That is a beautiful quote. And I can translate it into 4 words. Enough of this crap, okay? Everyone's made their jokes about Antonio's feet, and you've done your goofy helmet searches. We got a game soon. We got a game at home on Monday Night Football. And I just look at someone like Mayock, who is an old schooler, who is a grinder, and he brings in people who are tough and want to compete. We got guys who can't be on the field because their bodies are broken down. We have guys who can't be on the field because of mental health. And we have one guy who says, I don't like this helmet. Antonio Brown's literally taking his helmet and going home, and it's like the rock star who's like, I won't go on stage unless I have 56 blue M&Ms. Well, you still have to pay the gig, dude. You still have to get out there and play, and it's mid-August, Kay, and I love the Mayock thing because somebody's finally saying, enough of this, let's go, and it's past time.
I think the word that jumped out at me from that statement and what you just said is exhausted. All right, we've exhausted all of our avenues. No, we're exhausted for talking about this stuff. We should be talking about everything we said when we signed the guy, about how great of a practice player he is, how great of a competitor he is. And instead, they're talking about the drama. We don't want no drama. All right, there's a song about that.
Yeah.
To your point, 21 days from now, they open the season. It's time to go. I've been on a lot of teams, as you guys have in your sports career. All right, when it's about one guy, it never works out. All right, it's got to be about the team. And the problem that Mike Mayock has now, and now we're kind of sensing it. He's been lurking in the weeds, just saying, "Look, I'm going to let this sort it out. We back you up. The foot situation, that was awful. All right, we support you with that. But now it's time. It's go time. And I think when you look at Mike Mayock and John Gruden, how do we preach accountability to the other 89 guys?
I don't know.
To your point, we got 89 guys that are here that are fighting through the dog days of camp. And you know what? Of course we're a better team with you, but we need you out here. Not only for you, but you're going to help make our team better. You're making our defenders better, our corners, everybody else is going up against you in practice. So the problem is that now it's starting to detract from the team, and you can't win games with that. Show me a championship team that had drama like this.
Doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. Doesn't work.
Schrags, I can't believe we're still talking about this helmet. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, gave a response. Take a look.
We've worked very closely with the Raiders, and we will continue to work very closely with the Raiders. I'm not sure that we agree that we've exhausted all the options, as Mike Mayock said, but there's no doubt it's still an ongoing process. We are trying to work with the team and the league and the union to come up with a solution. We haven't figured it out yet. To say that AB is upset about the decision to not let him wear his helmet is accurate, but we're still processing it and figuring it out. I wouldn't make too much about him not being there today as much as we're still trying to come up with a solution.
Well, that would make sense, Drew, because Antonio Brown himself put him on his Instagram. He disagrees with the decision, but he's working on getting back to full health and rejoining his team. I'm excited about this season, appreciate the concerns about me. And now we're back here. So, Schrags, why are we back there, and where does it go moving forward?
I think that John Gruden has been playing good cop in the media this entire time, whether it be on Hard Knocks. He's got his guys back. So to see Mike Mayock come out and issue a statement, that's not by accident. This is good cop, bad cop. And now the Raiders have 3 choices, all right? And none of them are ideal. The most ideal choice is that he shows up. But when you ask, is AB all in or all out, there better be some sort of consequence if he is all out. Here's what they can do. Number one, they can just cut him. They can cut Antonio Brown. They can make a statement, say it's not what we stand for.
Right.
We made him a trade, but you know what? We've looked at this. We've been a couple weeks in. We can get rid of him, and he can sign elsewhere, and we're willing to say, hey, it just wasn't fitting the culture. We can move on. If they do that, they still owe him $30 million over the next 2 years.
That sounds terrible.
He can sign whatever team he wants to, but the Raiders can say, we stand for culture, and that doesn't fit our culture. That's the first option. The second option is they can try to trade him. All right, now they got Antonio Brown for a third and a fifth, and that was kind of 60 cents on the dollar. If they trade him, what teams are lining up for this right now? If they're looking
Going back to Pittsburgh.
Is it 30 cents on the dollar, and then they're trading him for that? I'm not sure there's another suitor for Antonio Brown in a trade at this point because you still have to pay that contract. And the last option is what has been described to me as a nuclear option, something that has never been done since the CBA has been put in place in 2011, and it's called the 5-day letter. You might have been reading about this. Mike Florio's been talking about this a bit. The 5-day letter is something that no team ever wants to use. It's almost like that nuclear button where you know it exists, but you never want to use it. What the 5-day letter is, a team can issue this to a player, and if he does not show up in 5 days, he cannot play for the entire season. He goes on a certain list on the NFL not active list. He doesn't get paid, and he can't play for anybody else. It's basically saying we are severing all relationships with this player. We are severing all ties with this player. You're also selling to the rest of the NFL community, we are willing to do this to someone, which basically Drew Rosenhaus represents, 100 players, a lot of them NFL superstars. You are really, really drawing a line in the sand and doing something that would publicly say you are willing to do this to a player, which is something that they have in their back pocket, that the CBA has there. It's just never been used. It's so drastic. And to do that would say that Antonio Brown is not only against the NFL with this helmet thing, not only against the NFLPA with this helmet thing, not only against the Raiders, but it would put the Raiders against Antonio Brown in a way that has not been done yet because they've all been kind of in line. It is the nuclear option, and I'd be very surprised if they use it. But if they do, just wait. This will be the busiest, craziest week we've seen all offseason.
And that's like a legit ultimatum, black and white. The thing that Mayock said also seems sort of black and white. Something seemingly has to happen with Antonio Brown. So we'll be here covering it all day long on NFL Network. But